Okay, let's start then. So, guys, let me ask you first, have you heard about the conflict going on in Nile before this reading? It was the first time to hear about it.
No.
Okay, I would like to start asking you if we can actually call a war what is going on in the Nile. What do you think? If I might start with Maya, do you think it's actually a war what is going on, or is more like a conflict?
I think it's more of a conflict. I think part of the problem is international attention or a lack of, and it might be just if large players aren't involved or interested, or if they're distracted by other things, it's hard to call it a war. And I don't know if that's necessarily a bias, but that's...
Yeah, well, actually, we saw the United States getting involved in the recent years of in the conflict. The thing is, even though it has media coverage, we don't actually see like very often on the news the conflict, but we do have another states involved. So, but let me still ask you, Jihi, do you think it's a war or it's just a dispute between a few countries?
I think until now it is. I think until now it is more of a conflict, but I guess at some point it could develop into like war because of like the United States, but and then it involves like big area of like the whole like of Africa, right? So I guess at the end it could like the worst scenario this could evolve into the war, but at the moment I think it's conflict and it yeah.
Yeah, great, thank you. Now, yeah, what do you think? We can call a war this issue in Africa?
No, I agree with everyone. I think it is more like a conflict, but it can be considered as a war as well.
Right. Okay. There are some components of this conflict that might taken us as aware because some especially Egypt has threatened Ethiopia couple of times of taking action, military action against the dam, and even the president of United States did mention that on the last call with the president of Sudan. He warned them against the possibility of Egypt taking military action. So that's why some people is calling it a war. But let me just move in and take your opinion. If Egypt, what do you guys think? If Egypt has the right of asking Ethiopia to stop filling up the dam and stop the project itself? Is it like he has the right to ask the country to not to do the dam, or do you think it's completely out of context to ask Ethiopia to not to do the dam? Somebody want to give the opinion?
I think it's absolutely fair if they're downstream and then it affects them. Now do that
I think we have some issues with your internet again, Maya. Sorry. Now, what do you think? Is Egypt in the right to ask Ethiopia not to fill up the dam in the Nile?
Uh, it's hard to say. I don't. Uh, it's hard to say. I don't want to say that they have like superior right to do that because they have high reliance on it. But I don't know. I just don't want to say that they have. Mm,
Yeah, like I'm seeing here
superior.
Maya comment, if Egypt is downstream, then is their right to have a say. They also rely on the river of 90% of their water, so of course they should have a right. What do you think?
Mm,
I think like a river, more like especially the Nile that goes transboundary, like a lot of countries. I think it should be more considered as a public good and rather like somebody like I think Ethiopia was saying it's like a sovereignty matter, but I think it's not. It's like it's a common good that you're sharing between like so many countries. Like you doing something on it just because in your like like boundary doesn't mean that you actually like own and you can do everything. And it would affect like other, like for example they were saying that it could affect so many people, right? Like I was wondering about if they put a dam with the fishery like for the whole Nile and stuff. I don't they really say that they have like full ownership of it.
Yeah,
The
that's
dam.
true, but and I would like to like raise a point is, yeah, you guys are right. It must be considered like a public um, issue. Like you cannot put a dam in the river that is flowing around different countries. But why the neighboring countries, Sudan, for example, they see the dam as a really good opportunity to control the water flow as well and to get electricity out of it, and not Egypt? Why do you think the the view is so different between the countries if it's basically the same?
I don't think I got your question. Could you repeat?
No, I mean, why if it's right what we are seeing here, that the river is flowing through different countries and should be considered others' opinion, and it should consider as a public like good, the water of flowing downstream. Why the view of Egypt is so different to other countries, like for example Sudan. Sudan is supporting the dam. Sudan thinks having the flow control might be actually help during the dry seasons, um, and they see they might increase actually the production of agro-industrial goods, instead of contrary to Egypt. They are claiming that this might actually affect their their production. So why do you think Egypt is completely going opposite direction to the other neighbors?
I can talk. I think it's at the end a matter of like, well, I guess they will just base their argument on that 90% of the population now like on the now to for survival, right? And I also think, but it's also because in the beginning, the article said that they were talking about connecting the two dams, like the dam in Egypt and this GERD, but then somehow it's kind of impossible. Like I kind of they were not included in like they will not profit from this dam. So I think that's maybe why they are. Uh, can you hear me all right though?
Yeah, yeah, I was listening to you, and yeah, actually, and Maya is raising another point here. It's we have to consider that Ethiopia can find alternative ways to have electricity. that might be true, but it's also like dams are the most efficient way to produce electricity, and this is a project they have been considering for a long time ago. And it is like by saying by other neighboring countries that it can be like beneficial for other countries to control the flow, and actually like the electricity produced can benefit also the neighboring countries in providing electricity to them. So and that point raised but Maya leads me to my next question, which is, what do you think will be a good solution for this conflict and not to escalate further?
Camille, I'm sorry to interrupt you guys, but is Nayang supposed to be in this room?
She was.
I think so. She was here, but I guess
She
she had
just
a problem.
disappeared?
Yeah, she's gone.
Okay. I was confused. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So the question again?
So the question again is, what will be a good way to solve this issue? Should, for example, Ethiopia stop filling up the dam and please Egypt? Or what do you guys think will be a good solution?
I think it's really clear that Ethiopia doesn't really have an interest in stopping the construction of their dam. And I think that it's necessary that they continue talks, although they both seem so stubborn from the articles that you sent. So it's really hard to say.
Yeah, well, actually, there is like they have been trying to reach an agreement, but they have been in talk. It seems like it might be very hard to have both sides pleased, because Ethiopia is already filling up actually the dam they started without finishing up the conversations, and Egypt, it seems like is not gonna be happy with any result of the conversation. So Jihi, what do you think? What can be a possible solution for the conflict?
First, uh, like not a treaty, but like for like an independent kind of body that could manage problem, and including not just Egypt and Ethiopia, but including like the rest of the country that are part. Seems like at the end of the river, Uganda is there. Maybe including everybody to have to kind of reach like an
You mean like
agreement
having
of
an independent entity controlling the
yeah,
water flow of the dam?
yes, yes, and I maybe not the dam, maybe but like anything regarding the river, I guess best. And then I also like intervene like the United States, and I think like the worst that can happen, because well, the article said that they were both allies to us, right? So even though it could maybe attract like more like attract like media from like other countries, I don't know if the US should get in. I
Right.
don't see anything good coming from that.
Let's suppose, for example, Ethiopia continue filling up the dam and it makes Egypt actually threaten his food security and his own their own economy. That will give Egypt to take further action as military, for example, actions, bombing the dam or intervening military in Ethiopia. Because as you saw in the video, there is also a historical reason for Egypt to be like claiming against the dam. It was the previous war they had. Um, do you guys see that possible? Like Egypt taking further actions?
I guess it would be the worst scenario. Like, I don't know how they would. I think they cannot go to war. I think it doesn't take them neither here or neither there. So I don't know if they would risk that much to like to. Oh, yeah. But I guess war is
I
never
don't know if
an option.
I don't know. Oh wait, hold on. I don't know if right now anyone wants to go to war at all. I don't think it's a good idea. And I think that they knew that too. But a solution has to be reached. It depends, I think, on whether they feel radical enough about it or strongly enough about it. But if historically they've fought over it before, then you can't completely remove the possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy because, yeah, these days countries avoid going to war. But it seems like Egypt is taking quite serious this dam in the Nile, because they do actually feel like threatened by Ethiopia. So I do consider sometimes this might escalate, and that's why US is putting a big effort trying to to keep the conversation a little bit on the table all the time and not to escalate. But actually, also in the video, we saw that Egypt had a secret plan to build up a military base in the neighboring country, Sudan. So that's why, for me, in my personal opinion, um, and I'm not supposed to do this, but Noyang is not here, so the conversation is very, very short now. So, in my personal opinion, is like this conflict or issue shows a sign of a war, because there are both countries feeling threatened by others, and they are escalating the language and their actions. So I do feel we can call this like a war, even though we haven't gone through the military action yet. But I do feel like it might escalate if they don't actually find a solution, especially because Ethiopia is not um, complying with the request of Egypt of not filling up the dam, and there might be some further reaction from Egypt.
If you're a realist, then you would probably say that they would go to war.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very realistic view of international relations. So I think that was all my questions. I don't know, Guy, if you would like to add something to wrap up, or somebody.
I actually have a quick question. What made you choose this topic? The
Sorry.
personal interest, or
Well, what's your question, Maya?
what made you choose this topic to moderate? Was it personal interest, or are you writing something on it?
No, it was just yeah, like it was on the news like recently, caught my attention, and I read a couple of articles, and I thought it was like good example of what a conflict actually see. And
Yeah, it's interesting because there's just such a like a stronghold on media right now. There's only two things I hear about: U.S. elections and COVID. So it's kind of like a welcome break, even though it's not happy news. But
yeah, it's true. It's like, yeah, COVID and elections take all of the media these days, and this is something like, as so many things, also conflicts around the world or situation that we don't see. Okay, guys, so I will end the record now and think. Yeah, Zihi, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just was thinking about like the environmental effects of like constructing a dam, and like it's not small.
Yeah.
They said it was like the biggest in Africa and like the world's seventh biggest. So I also was thinking about especially like being on the Nile, like affecting so many countries along the river. So I thought that was probably
I
what
was
they should argue for. Like Egypt, they
yeah,
really want to.
Yeah,
I was
that's
seeing on the BBC article that you sent that they were talking about how low the waters would probably get. That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. And it's a major source of transportation and not just water, but I would assume food as well. I don't know.
I was thinking
But
fishery too, like fishing and the biodiversity and yeah, so much.
yeah, that's of course every dam has like some environmental consequences. You know, when you're filling up a dam, we covered by water, land which is not supposed to have water before, and but the main concern is the water flow, because you of course you have to stop the water flow and you have to find the way to not to affect downstream the water, because it will affect fisheries and other ways of transportation as well. So that's one of the reasons. Of course, Egypt seems like really concerned about it. But yeah, it's a huge project. And they are financing it by themselves. Ethiopia didn't want any help for the international institutions, so they feel like really proud of financing and constructing the building up the biggest dam in Africa. So yeah, okay.
isn't it true that the Nile's water has been lowing for the past few years? So there's even less water to work with anyway.
Yeah, that one I'm not sure actually. But I think it's all depending on the rainy and the dry seasons. Probably due to the weather changes, they might see some changes in the water flow.
That's true. I was reading though that the rain wasn't helping. Wait, let me look. It's gonna drive me nuts.
While Maya is looking for that, I was thinking of like, has Egypt, maybe they should bring up like other ways like Ethiopia could um generate power like their country. Like, have they even thought about it? Maybe
Like solar power.
yeah, or just yeah, like probably have so much land they and so much sun they probably out. I don't know. I'm just
Well, actually I couldn't hear you the
I
last
was
point.
thinking
Probably
if
okay.
uh about Egypt maybe like proposing a way Ethiopia find like energy instead of construction land. Because they were saying that it was like they will have a surplus of energy and therefore provide for the rest of Africa, like neighboring countries. But yeah, maybe finding ways of like just the
Yeah, that might be true. That might be the case a few years before, but now they all just build up all the huge thing, and I don't think they are like willing to give give up on the huge investment, especially because, as I mentioned, they did it by themselves. So I think it's quite late to think about that. And any other way, like solar energy or wind or whatever, it might be costly. Like, um, yeah, I think it seems a little bit late But if they find an agreement like to stop the dam and Egypt financing other sources of energy might be an option. Yes, why not?
They might have to. So I found what I was talking about. It's been getting unusually hot, and so even though it rains and it collects in the Nile River basin, because it's been so hot and arid, it just evaporates. So there's like a huge scarcity of water already. So I feel like even if Ethiopia goes through with their dam, I feel it might not be very good long term, because there might be enough water for them to provide electricity or have surplus of electricity if they're already struggling.
Yes, true. And they have been waiting for the right moment to fill up the dam. They have the dam ready for a couple of years, but they haven't started filling up the dam. So they just started recently to filling up slowly, like they are halfway actually already, and they haven't seen like a very big impact on Egypt already. So if they already fill up half of it, what's I don't think they will struggle filling up until the end of the dam. So that gives Egypt like less like points to raise when the discussion comes up, because Ethiopia will be like, I already fill up the half of the dam and we are okay. All the families that you claim they were gonna lose their jobs or your food security having been compromised. So let me just finish up filling up the dam and let me run my dam, and let's make everybody happy. Our neighbors country, which they lack of electricity, I will have enough to bring to them. So yeah, that was my last point, and thank you guys for your participation. Or Jihi.
I have a small question.
I
Yes,
feel
yes.
Jihi
I'm
right
sorry I keep asking. I just want to know your opinion on like why do you think Egypt is so like angry and upset about all this? Yeah.
I feel it's not a political reason. They have, I mean, in the recent years, the development in Africa has been like a very competitive, especially between Ethiopia and Egypt. Egypt has been like the most developed country in the region. I mean, in the northern part of Africa, and they have quite shown like a leadership in that term. So, but Ethiopia in the recent year they have developed like actually like faster than any other country. So I think it's more like a political reason, like they don't want to lose their leadership in the region, and they just feel like in a kind of jealous, like why Ethiopia is building up this huge dam and investing so much money and doing by themselves. So I think that's the reason I see behind Egypt. So yeah, thank you guys. I will stop now recording.
Oh, hold on. Don't stop.
No, too late.
We have under a minute, but let's do a little game. Who can concisely summarize any conclusions or findings or opinions in one sentence? 40 seconds.
Despite historical tensions between Ethiopia and the Sudan, conflict continues with no end in sight.
Very optimistic. Thank you very much, Maya. Realistic and optimistic and pessimistic. Okay. Camilo, 15 seconds. Last one belong to you.
Okay, we see even though we cannot call this a war yet, we see some aspect of this conflict leading to a possible war in the region without a solution.